Coming up next, Tropical Storm Rafael just formed in the Caribbean and a brand new cone just came out. What this could mean for Florida.
And we're getting a look at the two men shot and killed while celebrating Halloween in downtown Orlando, how they are being remembered. Fox 35 News at 5 is coming up next.
Right now on Fox 35 News at 5.
This is a historic election.
You decide 2024. The early votes are being counted. We're going behind the scenes to show you how your ballot is being tallied safely.
A brawl in the stands. Fans fighting deputies at the Florida-Georgia game. How this argument quickly turned violent.
When that loss comes out, it's like losing part of you.
A Halloween horror story for these friends. Two men murdered in Orlando, and their alleged teenage killer is going to the big house.
And these are the two young men who were shot and killed while celebrating Halloween in downtown Orlando last week. Thanks for joining us on this Monday. I'm Luann Sorrell.
And I'm John Brown. We spoke to friends and family of both victims. And 19-year-old Timothy Smith Jr., well, he was a freshman at UCF. And then 25-year-old Tyreek Hill was out with his friends that night. And we have live team coverage of that shooting today. We've learned the 17-year-old Jalen Edgar will be charged as an adult. And we begin with Fox 35's Randy Hilder. So, Randy, you spoke to the people who knew the victims.
Yeah, good evening to you both. And they are, as you can imagine, just devastated, heartbroken by this loss. I spent some time with the manager of the car store towing company. That's where Tyreek Hill worked. He says this would have been his first day back at work after a long weekend. And his boss says it is hard to wrap his mind around the fact that Tyreek did not clock in for work today. And friends say that there is a candlelight memorial set for Tyreek Hill this Wednesday, 6 o'clock at McKinney Park in Claremont. Reporting tonight, Randy Hildreth, Fox 35 News.
Well, as we mentioned previously, Jalen Edgar will be charged as an adult for the two murders. The state attorney announcing today that Edgar is now facing second-degree murder charges. And Fox 35's Marlisa Goldsmith joins us live in the newsroom. So, Marlisa, those charges, though, could be upgraded.
Yeah, John, they can. The state attorney says first-degree murder charges have to be recommended by a grand jury. Earlier today, Andrew Bain told us his office will present the case to a grand jury the next time they convene. Jalen Edgar was scheduled to be in juvenile court over the weekend, but it was his mom who showed up in tears. Edgar will now get transferred to the Orange County Jail. He was facing a grand theft charge in another case that will also be moved to adult court. In the meantime, Edgar is still in the process of being transferred, and we are waiting to find out more details on his next court hearing. For now, live in the newsroom, Marlisa Goldsmith, Fox 35 News.
Marlisa, thank you. And we have more coverage of the deadly Halloween mass shooting in Orlando online. You can hear witness testimony on fox35orlando.com and the Fox Local app.
A Fox 35 News update today. The woman convicted of shooting and killing her neighbor in Marion County will be sentenced later this month. Susan Lawrence killed A.J. Owens during an argument last year. She claimed self-defense, but the jury didn't buy that. The 60-year-old woman will be sentenced on November 25th. She faces up to 30 years in prison.
We are tracking the tropics tonight, and Tropical Storm Rafael just formed in the Caribbean. The system is expected to continue to gain strength and could even become a major hurricane in the Gulf. Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Noah Berggren joins us now.
Okay, so what are the effects you're looking at here for us?
Yeah, John Lou, this is a deceiving storm in the sense that the eye is not going to landfall in Florida. But even though we're well east, I do think we could have some enhanced rain and storms Wednesday into Thursday. So here's what you need to know. Each day this week, separate from Rafael, we've got daily shower and storm chances. A little bit unusual. We're in November now. The rainy season's generally over. Not the case this week. Rafael will pass by to our west late Wednesday into the early hours of Thursday. Again, a landfall in the state of Florida is not expected as of right now. But being on the east side, it'll push a huge area of tropical moisture into central Florida. And it does look like we could have some enhanced storms and showers. But again, is it an inch of rain or is it 6? Wednesday into Thursday, don't know yet. We'll go through that more later. But here's the latest satellite view. This storm is really starting to strengthen. 4 o'clock advisory, 45-mile-an-hour winds north at 9. There you see it in the Caribbean. And the environment is very ripe for this to strengthen. In fact, now forecast become a Category 2 hurricane by Wednesday afternoon. This could be a major impact to Havana and western Cuba and also Jamaica Wednesday into Thursday. Then from there, notice the eye stays offshore from Florida, but even being on the east side, we could have a lot of tropical moisture surging into the state as the storm eventually starts to weaken into the Gulf. Then from there, really gets way out in time and uncertain, but still think it's possible this could end up landfalling in Louisiana sometime over the weekend. We'll talk much more about the forecast in a few minutes.
Thanks, Noah. Also a developing story right now. Troopers are searching for a driver after a deadly hit-and-run crash in Orange County. This one happened near the intersection of Sandy Creek Land and East Colonial Drive early this morning. The victim was standing in the grass near the intersection when he was hit. The driver then drove away from the scene. Troopers are looking for a Toyota Camry with damage to the front grille, the front headlights, and also the front windshield. In our You Decide coverage today, Election Day is tomorrow, of course, but the early voting ballots and mail-in ballots are still being counted right now.
And Fox 35's Caroline Coles is live at the Supervisor of Elections office in Orange County. Caroline, good evening. You got a behind-the-scenes look at this process.
I did. A good evening to you both. This is exactly where people are dropping those mail-in ballots. They're getting in line, and then they're going to be dropped off at a location where they're actually able to put their ballots into a box. It's not too late for you to still send in your mail-in ballots. At this point, obviously, you can't mail it in, so the best thing for you to do is go to a voting location, go to your precinct to drop off your ballot. But I also, as you mentioned, got a behind-the-scenes look at exactly how these ballots are counted. All right, so keep in mind the polls do close at 7 o'clock tomorrow. However, as long as you're in line by 7 p.m., you can still cast your ballot. Reporting live here in Orange County tonight, I'm Caroline Coles, Fox 35 News.
Thanks, Caroline. And Fox 35 News is your election headquarters, and we will be on the air tomorrow starting at 4 p.m., leading up to the polls closing here in Florida at 7 p.m., and then stick with us for up-to-the-minute results until well after midnight. Fox 35 News at 5 is just getting started. Coming up, not in my backyard. That is what some people in Orlando are saying about a new homeless shelter. Tonight, we are live at a meeting where people are protesting.
Plus, we are counting down to another SpaceX launch from the Cape tonight. But this one is going to be a little different. Why you will likely be hearing this one loud and clear.
And your digital wallet is not as safe as it used to be. Cybersecurity experts say there is a way the scammers can get a hold of all your information and you won't even notice. How they're doing it and how you can stop them coming up next.
All right, really unusual stuff to see. We've got a new area of tropical development heading into next week, coming into the Bahamas. We could have another tropical storm next week. We'll talk about this and Rafael more coming up.
From Fox 35 Mission Control, SpaceX gearing up for another launch from the Space Coast tonight. But this one, you might hear it.
Yeah, the company is planning to land its booster on land this time, which could lead to a loud sonic boom all across Central Florida. Fox 35's Stephanie Buffamonte is live at the Cape tonight with more on the launch. Hey, Stephanie, this could be pretty loud.
It could be. So the liftoff is expected at 9:29 tonight, and you can expect that sonic boom around 9:37. So if you live in the area, just be prepared for that. Now, of the many science experiments on board, two that I'd like to mention. One will examine solar wind and how it forms, and also there will be a device to test and study how space impacts different materials. Now, I also mentioned there's going to be food that will be delivered. As we know, the holidays are around the corner, so they had that in mind. They're going to send a holiday bag with lobster, crab, quail, a cheese kit, and also coffee. Again, that will be 9:29 tonight. Reporting live, Stephanie Buffamonte, Fox 35 News.
Stephanie, thank you. And take a live look from our Launch Credit Union camera over there at Port Canaveral, where that launch is going to happen later tonight in about 4 hours or so. Let's check in with Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Noah Bergeron once again.
Okay, we've had a lot of rain around the area today.
Very unusual for Election Day. You know, in Florida, this time of the year, most years you're solidly in the dry season. It looks like
we
August.
thought we were going to be dry. What happened?
Yeah, it's going to be like this every day this week, and it's going to be rough at the beaches. There'll be some showers inland. You see the camera shaking there in the bottom right, and we've got that tropical storm and hurricane that was expected that will be coming into the Gulf, which we have seemingly now talked about for 3 weeks. So it's not like that has come out of nowhere. This has been a long forecasted hurricane developing tonight. But first, the radar. Temperatures cool. It's only 72 in Palm Coast, 73 in the city right now. Winds are sustained from the east, 5 to 15 or so miles an hour. Gusts up to 20. This has been one of the windier spells in October and November that we've had in recent memory. Really a windy stretch given the pretty wild weather pattern that's over North America right now. Here's our exclusive radar. We do have a couple of showers out there. No thunder and lightning. There's not enough instability in the atmosphere. Remember, instability is the temperature cooling as you go up in the sky. So in the summer when it's 95 at the ground, it's cool aloft. You get thunderstorms and hail and damaging winds. Right now it's in the 70s at the ground in the clouds, so there's no lightning coming from these. Just some showers from the villages back towards Eustis. Umatilla, a little shower there near Winter Garden going towards Oakland, and a couple of more showers coming in off the ocean right now towards Mims, Titusville, and Rockledge. But this is going to be some November. We talked about this last week. In November, and I will stick to what I told you last week, I think we're going to have multiple tropical storms and hurricanes this November in multiple tornado outbreaks. And in fact, there's snow tonight in Texas and a very high-end tornado threat in parts of Arkansas, Texas, Missouri. You see there, this is the severe weather threat for tonight. Could be a couple of violent tornadoes into the night tonight in Arkansas. And you can see there is winter. Here is still the last portions of at least summer trying to hold on. Now, meanwhile, south of all that, we've got Rafael, which is now a tropical storm. This will rapidly intensify tomorrow. Personally, I think there's still a chance that if the core is really small, this could way overperform the official intensity forecast. It wouldn't shock me at all if this is a teeny tiny fierce eye wall that ends up getting to Cat 3 or more before it hits Cuba. But regardless, this will be a big impact to Jamaica and western Cuba. Then from there, Thursday afternoon, we're talking about a Category 1 hurricane safely southwest of Florida. This is still really rare to see a hurricane into the Gulf in November. You're talking, you can count on one hand the amount of times that this has happened. Now, in terms of the eye, it will go over Cuba. Then from there, there's a little bit of a divergence. Some of the models bend it back into the Gulf, some up into the deep south as we head into next week. But the question for us will be, how many storms are on the east side of the circulation, which right now is a little bit tricky to figure out. So notice tomorrow we've got this east flow into Florida. I've got it zoomed out so you can see. This is our Fox model. There's the hurricane that rapidly intensifies. This will be a major hurricane possibly by Wednesday night crossing Cuba. But again, how many storms are on the east side in this flow? Our model doesn't indicate a lot Wednesday into Thursday. Personally, we're going to have to watch the data tomorrow. It's possible there could be a lot more downpours and storms over us Wednesday and Thursday, loosely tied to Hurricane Rafael. So tomorrow, breezy. Wednesday, Thursday, breezy. Rising rain chances the next few days. Once Rafael pulls away, guys, those rain chances will subside into the weekend.
All right, Noah, thank you. Coming up next on Fox 35 News at 5, a heated brawl between deputies and fans, all caught on camera. This happened up at the Georgia-Florida football game. We'll have more after the break.
Fox 35 News is brought to you by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
New video shows a fight at the Florida-Georgia football game over the weekend, and it was not between players. You can see deputies and fans fighting each other at Everbank Stadium up in Jacksonville on Saturday. At one point, deputies could be seen hitting fans before one of them pulls out a stun gun. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office has opened an administrative review into this incident. We're going to have much more on this story, including some brand new body camera video coming up on the News Edge at 6. But coming up next here at 5:30, we are in the final weeks of hurricane season, but scientists now say extreme weather could happen more often in the future. We'll explain why.
Plus, the final push in the race for the White House, how both candidates are spending their final hours on the campaign trail this year.
Our big story at 5:30 tonight, a battle over a proposed homeless shelter in Orlando could be coming to an end.
The Orlando City Council just voted yes on a proposal for that shelter in the South Downtown area, or the Soto District. That's on Cayley Avenue, just east of I-4. Fox 35's Marie Ettinger is live on that story today. So Marie, a lot of people who live in that area say they're against this.
Right. A lot of people today brought up that they feel this decision was rushed, that they didn't have enough time to weigh in and talk with the city council about this. But the city council is saying this shelter is for sure going to happen. It's just the city of Orlando saying they have an agreement now with Orange County that they could use what used to be Orange County's building for a potential shelter, maybe. The city council voted 5-2 in favor of the shelter. They said there will be many more meetings about this before they actually pull the trigger for it. In Orlando, Marie Ettinger, Fox 35 News.
Marie, thank you. Election day is not here yet, but nearly 60% of all registered voters in Florida have already cast their ballots. That means roughly 8.2 million people voted early or mailed in their ballots. So far, Republicans outvoted Democrats by nearly 850,000 people. But 1.9 million people who are not affiliated with a third party or they're independent have already voted as well. There are 13.95 million registered voters here in the state.
It's trending to fewer overall raw votes, and so your vote always matters, but if there's a little bit fewer votes, your vote will have that much more impact. So I'd encourage everybody, if you haven't, to get out there and vote tomorrow.
Democrats are out there voting, independents are breaking for us, and Republicans, I wouldn't be so sure that all those ballots that have even been turned in at this point are all for them.
Vote by mail ballots will be accepted until the polls close tomorrow, and you can cast your ballot in person between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Nationwide, 77 million voters have already made their decision. But still, Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are making a furious last-day push to get people out to vote.
Yeah, nationally, both the candidates are still tied in the polls, so of course it's going to come down to the 7 swing states. This brand new New York Times poll shows Trump and Harris tied at 48% each, and that one's in Pennsylvania. Harris is crisscrossing that state today, fighting for every last vote. And Fox 35's Kaylee Schuyler is live in Philadelphia. So, Kaylee, what's the latest from there?
Good evening, John and Luann. Well, on Election Day Eve, Harris is holding 2 events that are a combined concert and rally. The first is going to be in Pittsburgh before she heads here to Philly later tonight. She's expected to be joined by big stars like Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, and Oprah Winfrey. But these last-minute rallies really do make a difference because there are still undecided voters out there. Harris's running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, will be making one final visit here to Pennsylvania tomorrow. He's going to be in Harrisburg tomorrow morning with his wife. In Philadelphia, Kaylee Schuyler, Fox 35 News.
Kaylee, thank you. And former President Trump is also making his final push in Pennsylvania today.
And Fox 35's Sarah Legre is live in Pittsburgh tonight. So, Sarah, you're at one of the most important cities in one of the most important states tonight.
Yeah, it's a very big night tonight. I'm here at the PPG Paints Arena. It's the home of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and we have a large crowd inside waiting to hear from the former president in any moment from now, within the next 30 minutes. And we have dueling rallies. It just goes to show you just how important this city is in the Keystone State. Harris is just around 10 miles away. She'll be rallying here as well, trying to win over those undecided voters, as Kaylee mentioned. And we know a lot of those people, what's top of mind for them is both jobs and the economy. And meanwhile, Vice President Harris says she plans to support unions, and she says she has strong plans to help strengthen the manufacturing industry. That is huge here in Pittsburgh and, of course, the entire state of Pennsylvania. And then again, just both candidates making those final cases tonight, persuading voters to take their top concerns with them to the ballot box tomorrow. In Pittsburgh, Sarah Allegre, Fox 35 News.
Thanks, Sarah. And Fox 35 is your election headquarters. We have complete voters' guides right there on our website. You can find your polling location and updates to all the races across the country and, of course, the state listed by county on our website. Just go to fox35orlando.com.
Volusia County Schools is continuing its bus tour across that county, highlighting the CTE education program. That stands for Career and Technical Education. The bus tour is giving high school students experience in fields including finance, culinary arts, and automotive. They are able to start their career paths while they're still in high school. 20 business leaders from all around the district toured local high schools today.
College and careers is very important. So some students are not going to go to college, and we offer industry certifications, over 100, that allow our students to get those certifications in those career areas and move right into the workforce.
The CTE program includes dual enrollment as well as over 45 industry certification credentials.
Next here on Fox 35 News at 5, an urgent warning as the holiday shopping season approaches. Scammers out in full force trying to steal your wallet.
And they're not even using their hands. How to protect yourself from digital pickpocketing ahead. But first, we're saving you some cash tonight in the Fox 35 Pump Patrol. We found gas for $3.14 at the Wawa on US 27 and Hook Street in Claremont. We'll be right back. Welcome back. A consumer alert now. As we enter holiday shopping season, the FBI has a warning about a rise in digital pickpocketing.
That's when thieves use a mobile payment device to tap against your wallet to steal the number of the tap to pay bank cards. Fox 35's Heather Sullivan explains how to protect yourself. Well, it seems like storms are getting more and more severe and more frequent. You may be right. And scientists say humans are likely to blame. That's according to researchers at the University of Colorado in Boulder. They're speaking out in the wake of recent catastrophic flooding events. Last week, eastern portions of Spain were pelted with about 1 year's worth of rain in about 8 hours. More than 200 people were killed in that storm. Meanwhile, here in the United States, the recovery efforts continue in places like North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida, where communities were decimated by Hurricane Helene.
While the baseline patterns and processes are still the same to produce these extreme events, you're basically supercharging the environments that allow them to occur so that you can take a previous event that happened in a former climate and make it more likely or more dramatic than it might have been without human-caused climate change.
A recent United Nations report found that Earth is on track for significantly more warming unless world powers dramatically curb fossil fuel use and production. And right now we are tracking another potential hurricane in the Gulf.
And Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Noah Bergeron is joining us once again. So what is the latest on Rafael?
It'll be a big impact for Jamaica and Cuba. And as I'm sure you guys know very well, it's rare to talk about a hurricane in November.
Yeah.
In fact, there's hardly been any that have hit Florida. The good news is it's not going to hit us directly, but we will get impacts from it. We're already, you could probably attribute these showers today in part to Rafael, which is well to our south. Temperatures are in the 70s. A lot of clouds and showers. Not exactly what you would expect for Florida in November. But welcome to the 2024 hurricane season, my friends. This was what was expected, was to be very unusual, and it has been. We've got some steady rain now from Eustis approaching the villages over to Dallas. A little shower went through Ocala. Volusia County, friends, some showers offshore. All of this action will be coming in over the next hour or two, and some briefly heavy showers even from Wedgefield up to Crispus. You see our exclusive radar right there. So heads up Winter Park along the I-4 corridor to downtown. Some briefly heavy showers are coming in over the next hour or two. A little decent downpour over Wedgefield, and then one about to be in the Bithlo area. But you want to talk about wild weather. You've got blizzard warnings, New Mexico, Texas. By the way, if you caught football, and they had the highlights yesterday on Fox, it was hailing in the Cardinals Stadium. Hailing. So you've got blizzards to tornadoes in just a couple hundred miles to the west. And in fact, very significant tornadoes tonight in western Missouri and Arkansas. And that is all tied to this Hurricane Rafael. It's all interacting with one another. And that tornado outbreak and blizzard, and there's going to be another one Thursday this week, will help to lift this north towards the Gulf Coast by the end of the week. So right now it's a 45-mile-an-hour tropical storm, but the key here is that the pressure, as TG and I have been looking at the last couple hours in the office here, the pressure is way below what all of the models have had for this right now. And you can see there is a little bit of a center trying to form. It would not surprise me at all if this way overperforms the intensity forecast if it can form a small core really quickly. They've already increased the intensity to a 2. It's possible it comes up a lot higher than that. Now, the reason I'm mentioning that is because the way that would have implications for our weather here is that if by some chance this ends up a Cat 3 or 4 hitting Cuba, what does that mean for the path when it enters the Gulf? Example, we've got some models that take the center like this and then into our Fox 51 counties Thursday. We've got other models that are so far left, they're outside the cone. So this is a very odd storm where it's hard for me to say definitively we're completely in the clear yet. I think it's unlikely the eye would landfall or the storm would landfall in Florida. But again, if it were to come even on the far eastern side of this cone, for example, Thursday, if the eye was right here versus right here, we're going to have a lot more downpours, maybe some tornado warnings and thunderstorms if the center is here versus right here. So even which side of the cone the storm ends up on will have big implications to our forecast, specifically for Wednesday into Thursday. So for right now, I'll just kind of cut it down the middle and say there's a 50% chance of downpours and some storms. But if the hurricane ends up closer to the west coast of Florida, we could end up with a lot higher chance for some downpours and storms. And obviously with how much flooding we've had after Milton, that would change our forecast a little bit for Wednesday and Thursday. So stay tuned for updates on that. But temperatures in the mid 80s, a lot of clouds, gusty over the next few days. That moves away and it gets brighter and drier for the weekend and very nice by early next week.
Looks good. Thanks, Noah. Coming up next here at 5, Brevard County's biggest annual family event is back. We're going to show you the big changes this year to the Space Coast State Fair.
Fox 35 News is brought to you by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
One of Brevard County's largest and most popular family events is underway once again. We're talking about the Space Coast State Fair. This year's event is the largest ever. It's the location largest ever as well on Stadium Parkway in Melbourne. The 38 acres will house a record number of rides, including a 90-foot tall Ferris wheel and a grand carousel. There will also be 10 shows at the fair, including a hypnotist and even professional bull riding.
We have 42 state fair rides with modern midways out of Chicago. So it's a really great deal, great value for the family.
Plenty of live entertainment and shows as well, like the Wolf Show.
Yeah, the Strongman Show, which we're going to see soon. Lots of great food and adult beverages as well, but lots of fun for the family.
I just want fried food.
I love fairs.
All right, the fair runs through Sunday, November 17th. Tickets range from $25 on Tuesday through Thursdays to $30 on Fridays through Sundays.
I will take some deep fried Oreos and a corn dog, please.
Remember we had the deep fried
we went to
Krispy Kreme sandwich. Yeah, Krispy Kreme on each side of the burger.
With the burger, yeah.
Okay, now I'm going.
You can tell it's dinner time, right?
All right. We're working on a lot of stories coming up on the News Edge at 6.
And we start with Fox 35's Caroline Coles.
Governor Ron DeSantis taking a stand against Amendment 3. Tonight at 6, we're going to talk about his reasons why.
Coming up, we're learning more about the 2 men who were killed in that deadly Halloween shooting in downtown Orlando, how their friends and family want them remembered.